One of the words that makes me nervous from any of my clientele is the word scale. Makes me nervous. Even though I use it in some of my content pieces, I get nervous. Okay. Now, that's my limiting belief, not yours. That's mine. What makes me nervous about the word scale is sometimes we're trying to go too fast, too quickly. Okay. That's my thing as a business coach here. The fundamental I want to make sure that I offer you is your business scales through incrementally less effort. See if that makes sense. So at first you have to do the heavy lifting. So I'm saying it to you out loud, very loudly. You have to do the heavy lifting. You have to understand all of what's required in order to execute on what you promised, all the detail. Okay. And sometimes, fellow experts, there's a translation between what you did when you do it and what the client experiences when they do it. So right now, I'm not, because Tegan has already said, Alze, I've launched, sold a couple of startups already. Like, I know how this works. Yeah, Tegan, you do. But now we're talking about serving them. And they're weird. Clients are weird, aren't they? And so we have to make sure that we have them the appropriate guardrails and boundary systems so that they don't break this service. And sometimes we are taught that only through effort. Those details, we're taught that only through our own experiences, helping the other person do it. So let's be mindful of the value that we get by doing that first tier of heavy lifting. It is heavy lifting. I appreciate that. Okay. What happens next, and I think you're ready for this conversation, Tegan, but you're allowing me to kind of layer it in. Thank you. What happens next is you look at all the difficulty, all that complication of what's required, and you say, okay, some of this can be easier. That part right there, I'm not doing that anymore. That part right here, the client doesn't even know I do it. That's going away. You see what I'm saying? But you can only do that. Here's my punchline for everybody. When you can see your own milestones. If what you're doing with the client is you just kind of show up and just do it because you're amazing, that's cool. And you can get paid a lot of money for doing that. But all of that knowledge is trapped in your head and there's no sense of process. And it's very hard to repeat. So part of what you've experienced in this sprint is your virtual team help break apart your service for you. So you can see what those pieces are. And as we were saying yesterday, for some of you, you took out some of those pieces. You know what I was saying? It's cool to have the 8 items. I don't like those all 8. I'm pulling out 2 of them and only going to focus on these, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you for allowing me to provide that perspective on how to think about scaling the services. Let me say that even tighter. Now that you have an idea of how I think about it. Level number 1 is you got to do it. You got to do it. Suit up, put the gloves on, go to surgery. You got to do it. Level number 2 is you'll develop frameworks and templates and structure around workflows around how that work gets done. That becomes level number 2. Level number 3 is you'll create content in support of those workflows. So you'll make a video to walk someone through the workflow. You'll make a video that describes the template. You'll make a workbook along that kind of thing, right? And then the next layer becomes true products, where it is a flip by flip, it's a turn by turn book. And once you're done at the end, you got it all solved, right? But that is definitely done in steps. It's not done in one thrust. And every step requires the step before it in order for it to work. Tegan was only asking what she was asking, but we have to have that perspective so we don't get ahead of ourselves and put too much load on ourselves. Some things you think you want to scale, you don't want to scale. So you go, you know what? Now that I know that's a part of this thing, I don't want any more parts of that, and you'll do something else. Thank you for asking, Tegan. Questions, comments, concerns, reflections, good people. Floor is open right now. It's 3:26.